So, issue 30 of the Skybound Transformers comic has just come out, and it's gotten a lot of people up in arms, to say the least. A lot of people are dropping the book. A lot of people are just not a fan of the direction it has taken. And I'm here to say, you guys are all wrong. No, but seriously. So this issue leaked, which, by the way, this is probably like, if there's any issue of this book like that would be like the worst to leak out, it would be this one. This is like the easiest one to just take out of context pages and just make super reactionary, like, oh my god, Energon's cooked, like the universe is dead, it's fumbled, what is Kirkman doing? I did not see any of those leaks, thankfully. So I just, I went to my local comic book shop. I went up, I picked it up, got home, gave it a read, and the first time I read it, I did not know how to feel, cause a lot of stuff happens here, but even on that first reading, afterwards, I was leaning more towards positive. Then I reread it a second time, and with that rereading, I can confidently say that I do legitimately like this book. In fact, for me, this has kind of rejuvenated my interests in the Skybound Transformers comics. But let's back up a bit. So, the Energon universe, Skybound Transformers, I believe, started around 2023, I believe. It's like it started around 2023, and there was the initial 24 issue run by Daniel Warren Johnson, and a lot of people, including myself, loved it. It was fantastic. In fact, when I was getting into Transformers, I got into it in the middle of that run. And so one of the early stuffs I did while getting into the franchise was, I was watching Transformers Animated, playing the High Moon games, and then I picked up the first of big collection, like the hard, like the big blue one, first trade paperback, right? And God, I just love that so much. It just immediately just caught me. Just the guttural, raw emotion in that book. Almost every single panel and page, just absolutely beautiful artwork, beautiful characterization, probably my favorite characterization of Optimus ever. And yeah, anyone who says, like, I respect, opinions are opinions, these are just comic books at the end of the day. But anyone who says, like, oh, it's just senseless violence with no meaning to it, I'm sorry, I just can't disagree with you harder. In fact, I sort of think you're kind of loopy there. You're kind of like, I don't know, your brain's scrambled. That's all I gotta say. I strongly disagree with that take. I truly think, like, that book highlights why I love comics and why I love the medium of comics and why I've been getting into the medium of comics these past few years. But also, as a new Transformers fan, it hooked me. It hooked me real good, and it wanted me to explore this universe even more. Help make me watch more cartoons, films, and different series, older comics. Been reading through the Marvel stuff, really good. And yeah, a lot of that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the initial run. But he did not stay on the book forever. He decided he had a story he wanted to tell, and he wanted to end it at issue 24. And so after that point, Robert Kirkman, who has been, creator of Invincible, all this stuff, Walking Dead, and also the spearhead behind this universe, decided to take over the book. And when it started out, it was not so bad. I legitimately like issue 25. It was a double-sized book, which means it got a lot of extra time to just really settle us into the new status quo, at the aftermath of the events of issue 24. However, After that is where things get a bit messy. Issue 26 is pretty much just a continuation of issue 25. Not really much to say there. Issue 27 is where we get the whole, Thundercracker thing. Issue 28 is about a lot of stuff, and it's probably my least favorite, just for like it not being able to balance anything out. We get so many plot threads thrown at you, and none of them get enough time in the spotlight, especially RC becoming RC Magnus. And issue 29 was just a giant fight scene, essentially. So yeah, this run has been contentious with a lot of people. It definitely, for me, has not been as good as DWJ's run, but I have not taken as much issue with it as other people. I don't really have an issue with the dialogue. I know it definitely is a bit more stilted, but I can get used to it. My biggest issue was throughout Kirkman's run is the pacing. I think his pacing is a mess. A lot of times, just again, issue 28 is like the capstone of this. That issue should have been all about RC's ascension into RC Magnus, but instead we get sprinkles of the stupid ass mask villain plotline, which I'm not even gonna talk about. I hate that. I didn't mind it at first, but then in the middle of it, they just decided to completely swerve off the rails with it by like having him be caught and then be escape. It just feels how it felt so rushed. And but yeah, I really didn't like issue 28. Again, issue 29 was just a giant fight scene, and it was cool. It was enjoyable. I like seeing Bulkhead fight Devastator. And there has been a lot of stuff that I have truly enjoyed in this time frame of the comic right now. I think, I love Thundercracker becoming an Autobot. I think his characterization, and specifically the chat he had with Prime in, I believe, issue 27, was really good. I also like seeing, Bulkhead and coming in. Glad to see more characters outside of G1 entering in the Energon universe. That's really cool. There was another thing I wanted to bring up. Oh yeah, the corruption plot line with Megatron, with him suffering from like the Dark Matrix that was given to him in issue 17, I believe, by the Quintessons. I'm legit interested in that plot point, and I'm very curious to see where it goes. I found that very intriguing. I have theories, but I'm not going to say them right now because I'm not sure if they're going to properly pan out. So yeah, issue 25 to 29 has been very contentious, and for a lot of people, issue 30 is the breaking point. So I just want to use this as a way to explain why it hasn't for me, and in fact has rekindled interest in this book for me. So I literally have the book open right now, and basically what this book is, it's essentially the capstone to the conflict between Optimus Prime and Elita, because throughout the book, ever since her debut, there's been conflicts with Optimus and Elita. Optimus wants to do everything in his power to protect the Earth from the Decepticons, and he wants to stay stationed on Earth and ward them off world. But Elita does not value Earth or the life on it at all, and wants Optimus to return to Cybertron without caring about the Decepticons over there. She has been fighting a war for millions of years without him by her side, and these are two essentially very broken, damaged people suffering with two different outlooks on how to handle things. Elita makes it to Earth, and she confronts Prime, and is just essentially fed up with Prime's leadership and attempts to take leadership from Prime by literally trying to yank out the matrix of leadership from him. That's something I do like here, I will point out real quick, is that her instigating this is sort of mirroring Soundwave and Starscream fighting way back earlier on when the series started, and how that was deemed a Decepticon tradition, honor-bound fight for leadership. Of course, the Autobots, they're like, nah, this isn't how we do things, but Elita does not care at the moment. She's willing to yeet Cliff Jumper and just do anything to take the Matrix out of Prime. Of course, this reaches a boiling point. The two of them are able to somewhat come to some kind of understanding, and Optimus decides, this isn't the way we do this. So, but maybe you are right. Maybe like, I still believe in my goals, but maybe those goals don't align with what the Autobots need for leadership at the moment. But that isn't for us to decide. It's for the Matrix. And so he decides to open up the Matrix and have it decide who's ready to be the Autobot leader. And chooses Elita and ascends her to Elita Prime, which then also converts Optimus into just Optimus. He's no longer Optimus Prime. He's more of an Orion Pax-ish, like, younger form. And immediately command that all the Autobots go back to Cybertron to fight the fight over there, and that anyone who decides to stay with Optimus Prime will have their ranks removed and will be essentially stuck on Earth with no guarantee, no guarantee to be brought back to Cybertron. And so we get a splitting of the cast. Some Autobots choose to go to Elita and follow her, returning to Cybertron, while many others stay with the now primeless Optimus to continue the fight on Earth. So yes, a lot of people have feelings with certain choices, but I just want to go through each of the things here. For one, I generally do like the character writing on display here. I have the book right here. For millennia, we fought together against the Decepticons. I'm the strongest with you by my side. And then Prime says, "I fear that is but a distant memory." Again, very, very strong line. And another thing, Dan Mora, I really liked his art throughout all of this. There has been some strange points, but overall, I think he's done a really great job delivering like the action and the emotions previously displayed by Mick Spencer, Daniel Warren Johnson, and the other artists who has worked on this series so far. And that's especially displayed during the battle between her and Optimus, and her just trying to violently tear out the Matrix from his chest while Carly and Spike are watching by. And again, just the way like Optimus' face is drawn and just the guttural raw emotion, it sort of harkens back to the earlier days of the comic. I want to talk about the main reason why I like this is that it does not suffer from the issues I felt the prior Robert Kirkman issues have suffered from. For one, pacing. Now you can have an issue with how the general larger story is paced with this issue, but in terms of the story presented in the issue itself, I think the pacing is way better than a lot of the prior issues. That has been my number one problem, is that it feels like Robert has been writing a lot of the issues like they are issue 25, which was a double-sized issue, except these issues are not. They're regular standard, page-length comic book issues. So you have a lot of stuff going on, but very few of it get really enough time that they deserve. You get a lot of, Thundercracker, with him being an Autobot now and interacting with Soundwave, and that's just like one page in an issue. You have the stupid ass masked villain, and dedicating like 4 pages to himself in a plot line that's probably gonna not even be connected to Transformers once that new Mask series starts. You have Spike and Carly and their like human dynamic, right? And then you have like all the drama with the Autobots, the Decepticon corruption and it just feels like so much of it doesn't have the time that it needs to be properly fleshed out. But this issue does. This issue is solely just about this conflict between Optimus and Elita, which I greatly appreciate so much. And again, I genuinely think it's not even just the fact that it is this thing that I've wanted for so long, is that I genuinely do think it's written well. In particular, I just love how Optimus, I just find so fascinating how Optimus, like, his mindset is just like, hey, I genuinely believe in the cause that I'm doing here on this planet, but maybe you're right, and that might not be the best for the Autobot cause right now. And a really cool thing I wanted to point out is, I'm flipping through the book, is after the story is ended and there's like extra stuff, there's like character descriptions, There's a character spot like near the back of the book that's like, okay, Optimus, a veteran Autobot warrior, former Prime. And what's he about? Having voluntarily passed the matrix of leadership to Elita-One, Optimus is now unburdened with the mantle of leadership and ready to hunt down Megatron and his remaining Decepticon forces. And that part just interests me so much. I guess that ties into a point I want to make, is that this issue has genuinely really intrigued me for the future, of the future issues of this comic. I'm genuinely intrigued and excited to follow the adventures of this primeless Optimus and his renegade group of Autobots, and Elita as a Prime leading the Autobots on Cybertron. The dynamics are just so different to what I've seen in any piece of Transformers media, and it genuinely excites me for how the character dynamics are going to go with this. Are we going to see Optimus be excited or be more of a hotshot type guy now that he doesn't have the Matrix? He's able to do stuff that he felt like he wouldn't possibly be able to do with the Matrix at his disposal. How will Elita as a Prime change with wielding the Matrix? Will she come to understand a lot of Optimus's his struggles and issues that he's dealt with, and come to reason with him more? Will she encounter Sparkplug and come to understand and have a better connection with humanity? They've been saying that the first 6 issues are an arc. It really isn't. It just sort of feels like the only thing kind of connecting these 6 issues is that they're they're dealing with the aftermath of what happened through issue 24. That's essentially it. There's not really been a through line. There's been little tidbits the corruption of Megatron, you working with the military, all this stuff, but there's not been one single thing to really define what is the main story going on. But I feel with this deviation, this heavy story choice, it makes me think, okay, we do have a more solid direction for this book now, which I feel we've been lacking for all the prior issues. And it makes me hopeful that a lot of stuff that's been setting up, here's my thought process. It makes me hopeful that maybe these first 6 issues were going to be always rough because Robert Kirkman had his idea for what he wanted to do with a Transformers book, and he's been focusing all of his time and effort and energy into that and planning out that, and these have just been the awkward middling points to get to the point he wants to get to, which is this story with Elita and the primeless Optimus now. Ultimately, I get why this may be a lot for people. If you've just been not messing with Kirkman's prior the prior issues he has done, then I can also understand why this may be a breaking point. But for me, I always seeing the extreme negative reaction this gets is kind of disheartening, because again, this has been exciting me in ways that the prior issues haven't, and actually has me kind of hopeful for the future of this book. Maybe Kirkman will use this opportunity to make the book fully his own, and it'll be enjoyable, maybe in a different way, but equally as much to Daniel Warren Johnson's run. I guess I wanted to talk about, just to cap things off this awkward discussion, some people complaining that Elita doesn't deserve to be Prime, and listen, the Matrix, okay, for one thing, the Matrix in prior continuities is not always the ultimate testifier to someone being good. The Marvel comic Matrix was corrupt as hell, and we have seen plenty of evil people being able to evil bots successfully being able to use the Matrix, like a Megatron X in Cyberverse, Scourge in the G1 cartoon, Thunderwing. So yeah, and Elita is just a very rough Autobot commander, a rough, uncompassionate Autobot commander. She is far from the worst example we've seen of a Matrix bearer. But also at the same time, and someone has pointed this out, I've seen plenty of people point this out, Hot Rod was far from a perfect leader when going into Rodimus. Throughout the G1 cartoon and Marvel comic, he was a very flawed, very not traditional style leader, and had a hard time living up to Optimus's legacy, and was constantly asking Ultra Magnus for help. And so the Matrix is not like, oh, it doesn't automatically choose you because you're already like the best. It chooses you, from my takeaway with Rodimus, just because you have the potential to be the best. And I sort of feel like that could be just the same with Alita, that she could learn from wielding the Matrix. Unfortunately, we won't be like really visiting this new status quo for a bit, because next issue is going to be about Megatron and his corruptions and his quintesson shenanigans, which I am excited for, because again, that's like one plot line that had me very intrigued during this whole first 6-issue run. Then issue 32 is going to be, you know, following Elita, and then I assume after that is going to be focusing after Prime, which is unfortunate, because Prime is the one I currently want to see what's happening with his group on Earth. You know, it's just a shame that from what I see online, a lot of people aren't going to be there with me, which sucks. On a side note, I have kind of like a weird theory. So ever since, like, starting with like the Kirkman run, we've been getting like a lot of like, you know, new designs for characters that we've generally been getting like way more of compared to Daniel Warren Johnson's run, DWJ. And because in the prior run, we got, you know, Optimus with the Megatron arm, armless Megatron with Laserbeak as eyes, Shredhead, and like, I guess like blue-eyed Starscream. Whereas here we got, like, you know, we have Primeless Optimus, RC Magnus, Elita Prime, probably a few others that I've been saying. Oh yeah, Autobot Thundercracker. A part of me wonders if this is like them preparing for like the eventual Studio Series toys, because for those who don't know, after the celebration of the 86 movie and Studio Series, they're gonna move over to do more comic focused stuff in that line. So a part of me wonders if they're debuting a lot of these designs just for them to have Studio Series toys later on. I don't know, it's just a theory. It's not like me saying it's not conspiracy, and it doesn't feel like that, but it kind of gives vibes like that at the same time. I don't know. I just wanted to use that as an opportunity to get this off my chest. General, like, talking about YouTube content now. I've been writing a lot of scripts, and I've kind of like been going through like fatigued with like trying to write so much. So I just felt like, hey, it would be a cool thing. It's relevant right now, and I have a unique perspective to share. Yeah, hope you enjoyed listening to this. Hopefully I made some amount of sense. But yeah, I probably repeated a lot of points, fidgeting around with the fidget toy on the sidelines. Sorry if you can hear that. But yeah, thank you all. Have a good day.